Since last summer, the National Hockey League has seemingly had just one goal in mind. Now, that goal was not to build on the increased audience from the playoffs and Stanley Cup finals last year. Matter of fact, the goal seemed to be counterintuitive to building on that audience. In the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, the NHL seemed to be excluding the casual fan, exchanging them for a group of people who don't even watch hockey. The NHL has made it their mission to make hockey more inclusive to the LGBT community, which is kind of ironic to me because I didn't know hockey was exclusive. I didn't know the NHL only accepted fans between the ages of 18 and 49 with Christian beliefs who also lacked melanin. I thought they promoted the league to everybody. The NHL has been bending over backwards for the wanker spankers. They have virtue signaled. They have begged for acceptance in the mainstream media. They have dipped their logo in Fruity Pebbles. They sponsored amateur hockey leagues where men were competing against women, rakes against shovels. The position of the NHL front office has been made clear. We are proud to be worshipers of the oak tree. We prefer Fruity Pebbles over Frosted Flakes. Don't serve us steak. We like the grilled woke wiener. The front offices of major sports leagues, they have expressed their love for the gay pride. But how do the players feel about it? How do franchises feel about it? We are beginning to see more and more players refusing to assume the desired position. Last summer, several players from the Tampa Bay Rays refused to wear the rainbow. Now, they did not do this out of malice. They didn't make this a big spectacle. Anytime this seems to happen, the only people who turn this into a big deal are the shitfucks in the mainstream media. This group of players in Tampa, they refuse to wear the rainbow because the lifestyle does not align with their personal beliefs. Fair enough, right? They weren't handing out Bibles at the Disney Shag and Dragon trying to convince Trey and Dan to get baptized in the name of Jesus instead of Treesus. The situation was the same a couple of weeks ago for Ivan Provorov. Philadelphia Flyers, they were hosting their celebration of cucumbers, asking players to taste the rainbow before the game. Ivan Provorov chose not to come out for pregame warm-ups. That was it. That's all he did. According to the mainstream media, this was a direct violation of the woke commandments. Supporting the pride, it is not optional, it's mandatory. You either comply or get crucified in the media. There is an old saying, all it takes for evil to prevail is for good men to remain silent and do nothing. Now, I am not saying the LGBT community is evil. I don't believe that to be the case. Most of them are just like you and me. They just prefer Joey over Chloe. Who cares? But the LGBT community, they are being used, they're being exploited to further another group's agenda. Oftentimes, it feels like people whose beliefs don't align with the beliefs of Woke United Methodist, it feels like we're sitting all alone. This false notion, it creates doubt. It causes people to be afraid to take a stand. Sometimes, though, it only takes one person to stand up, one person to have the courage to speak out, to give other people the courage to do the same thing. We might be starting to see that courage in the NHL. Started a couple of weeks ago, like I said, with Ivan Provorov, spilled over Friday night in Madison Square Garden. Earlier this month, the New York Rangers sent an email to their fan base. Come join us January 27th as we plant a fresh batch of cucumbers in the garden. Show your support for the millions of people in the LGBT community, most of which have never watched a hockey game. The franchise told their fan base that players would be wearing pride-themed jerseys during pregame warm-ups. It would look like a giant bowl of Fruity Pebbles out there on the ice. They were even going the extra mile by using rainbow-colored tape. It was going to be a celebration like no other. Plenty of pride on display. There was just one small problem here. The players didn't seem to agree. Friday night during pregame warm-ups, there was not one player wearing the rainbow jersey. The tape on their hockey sticks, the usual black electrical tape instead of rainbow tape. The Rangers, they did have rainbow lighting in Madison Square Garden. They had a member of the LGBT community sing the national anthem. Another one dropped the puck. In my opinion, what the New York Rangers did for Pride Night, It's what Pride Night should be about if you're going to do it. If you want to show your support for the LGBT community, this is how it should be done. You recognize them in a classy way, then give the people what they paid to see: professional hockey. It's the complete opposite of how the Milwaukee Bucks celebrated the Pride. For most normal people in attendance Friday night, I don't think they had a problem with what took place. The Rangers recognized the Pride, then they moved on. If you weren't in attendance for pregame warm-ups, you probably didn't even notice. The reaction from the wanker spankers was a completely different story. Woke Twitter was spanking so hard Friday night, their wankers were being peeled. Oh, I'm so upset. The Rangers owe us an explanation. Fans paid to see a flamboyant celebration of the Pride. Players were using the stick to hit some round thing instead of using the stick for purposes of pleasure. It was extremely, extremely disappointing. I am positive that the people who paid for tickets Friday night did not pay to watch a celebration of Pride. Why in the hell would you pay to see that? The entire month of woke Christmas in June, you can see Pride parades for free. Men roasting their thonged buns, plenty of tag team wrestling with the cucumber. People who paid for tickets Friday night paid to see a hockey game. And that is exactly what the New York Rangers presented to them. The recognition of the Pride, it was just an added bonus for the one or two people in attendance who cared. Now, we knew the alphabeters on Twitter would express their fake outrage. The fake outrage came from the typical people who look like Chewbacca. The only thing they have in common with the NHL is the missing teeth. How did the mainstream media react? Headline at Woke Illustrated: Rangers release a statement after bungling Pride Night. How did they mess up Pride Night? Is it really that big of a deal that players wore their normal uniforms? Why are they pretending that hockey players wearing their normal hockey uniforms is a sign of disrespect to the gay pride? Someone please explain to me one person that was negatively impacted by this. One. Name one person who was triggered because the New York Rangers wore New York Rangers uniforms. If I went to the game, that's what I would expect. What I wouldn't expect to see is grown men dressed like the Rainbow Rectum. Now, luckily for us peasants, The Athletic explained the dangers of the Rangers resisting the Pride. Headline over at The Athletic: Rangers retreat on Pride Night sends somber message to younger closeted players. According to The Athletic, there are two groups of sports fans. One group is proud when their favorite athletes are forced to respect the rectum. The other group doesn't feel athletes should be forced to taste the rainbow. The Athletic claims that first group I just described is much larger than the second group. It must be nice to live in a world of delusion. I don't know of anyone who supports organizations forcing their employees to support causes, especially causes that clash with their personal belief system. The Athletic claims this resistance forming in the NHL, this refusal to support the Pride, it's making it harder for LGBT athletes to play hockey. How? How does a team wearing their normal uniform make it more difficult for a gay dude to play hockey? The Athletic chastised players for refusing to comply during pregame warm-ups. It's just pregame warm-ups. It wasn't like it was the actual game. How come you couldn't comply to my demands during pregame warm-ups? It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, exactly my point. It's not a big deal, so why in the hell are you making it a big deal? If it's just pregame warm-ups, why do you care what jerseys are being worn? Like you said, it's just pregame warm-ups. There seems to be some confusion between acceptance and support. I don't think most professional athletes care about the sexual orientation of their teammates. Hell, I don't think most people care about your sexual orientation. We can accept you. I like grilled steaks. You like grilled wiener. I accept that. But that does not mean That does not mean I have a closet full of rainbow clothing. That doesn't mean I'm marching beside you in the gay pride parade. I go to Mardi Gras parades, you go to pride parades. What is so wrong with that? How come we're expected to not only accept it, but also support it? If that's the case, if we're all supporting each other, how come they're not participating in anti-abortion marches? Now, this is just speculation on my part. I think leagues like the NBA, the NHL, I think they are forcing their franchises into these Pride Night celebrations. Now, I know the NFL dips their logo in the rainbow, but I don't remember seeing Pride celebrations in the NFL this season. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't remember it happening. With the NBA, NHL, I think both leagues are forcing this on the franchises, but we're finally starting to see resistance. This has nothing to do with gay pride. Like I said, the LGBT, they are being exploited. This has everything to do with power and control, forcing people into compliance. We are finally seeing athletes say what the rest of us have been saying for a while now. Enough is enough. But give me your thoughts. Players for the New York Rangers refuse to endorse the pride. Do you think we're going to see more resistance like this from professional athletes going forward? Do you think we could see the same thing in the NBA next? Me personally, I don't know about the NBA. I don't think there's enough leadership amongst the players in the NBA for them to take a stand against anything that contrasts the beliefs at Woke United Methodist. But you let me know what you think. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.